The silence in my apartment wasn't merely an absence of sound, it was a tangible entity, heavy and suffocating. 3 months the rent had gone unpaid. My options had dwindled to nothing. Then came the knock from Mr. Thorne, my landlord, a man whose gaze had a way of lingering, making my skin crawl. He wasn't just after the arrears, he presented an offer. An offer I knew, with chilling certainty, I should refuse. But desperation, that cunning negotiator, whispered otherwise. I didn't refuse. The sudden rap on the door made me flinch. My worn robe, a flimsy barrier against the world, felt utterly insufficient as I clutched it tighter. I opened it to him. Mr. Thorne's eyes performed their slow, deliberate scan. "Aurora," he stated, his voice smooth and devoid of warmth, "you are 3 months behind." I pulled the robe closer, a futile gesture. "I know, Mr. Thorne. I just require a little more time." He stepped inside, uninvited, and the small room seemed to constrict around his presence. "It's a regrettable situation," he murmured, his gaze unwavering, "to see a woman of your attributes struggling so." His voice was like velvet concealing steel, so beautiful, yet so seemingly helpless. A flush of heat crept up my neck. "I will figure something out." He let out a sigh, a calculated sound of disappointment. "Time, my dear, does not settle outstanding debts." I had exhausted every conceivable avenue, grueling extra shifts, fruitless attempts to borrow, the painful parting with cherished, meager possessions. Nothing had been enough. "Please," I whispered, the fight nearly extinguished. "Just a little longer." He studied me, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. "Or perhaps there is an alternative form of settlement?" My stomach clenched. The unspoken, the dreaded, was now laid bare. "What are you suggesting?" "Oh, come now, Aurora," he chided softly. "You are a woman of considerable perception." The room felt suddenly hotter, the thin fabric of my robe offering no solace. "No one else need ever be aware," he said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. "This can remain entirely between us." My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. He smirked, a faint, cruel curve of his lips, evidently enjoying my visible distress. "I possess the means to make your financial difficulties disappear." A ragged, shaky breath escaped me. There were no other doors, no other lifelines, only him and the terrible bargain he proposed. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I gave a single, desolate nod. His smile deepened, a predatory gleam of triumph in his eyes. He reached out, not for any imagined payment, but for the sash of my robe. "A wise decision, my dear." Mr. Thorne led me towards the bedroom, his grip on my arm firm yet unhurried. The air within felt thick, charged with an unspoken, illicit energy. His cologne, a rich, masculine scent, mingled with something deeper, something primal, assailing my senses. He did not waste time. Standing near the edge of the bed, he deliberately undid his belt, the soft clink of the metal buckle echoing loudly in the suffocating silence. "I trust you understand what is expected of you, Aurora." A lump of ice formed in my throat. I hesitated, my fingers tightening into fists at my sides. His lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. "There's no need for such surprise, Aurora. An agreement is an agreement." A strange, nervous heat began to uncoil deep within me. I swallowed hard, then, as if in a trance, I lowered myself to my knees. His fingers threaded through my hair as I leaned towards him, his warmth, his scent, suddenly overwhelming. With a hesitant, almost clinical precision, I pressed my lips against him. He exhaled sharply, his fingers tightening slightly in my hair, a subtle, guiding pressure. The low sounds he began to make sent an unexpected, forbidden thrill coursing through me. I knew I shouldn't feel it, this treacherous response, but I did. His breathing deepened, his posture tensed. He was losing himself in the moment, in me. A strange, fleeting sense of control flickered within my own confusion. Just as I found a disquieting rhythm, he pulled away abruptly, his breathing ragged, his composure visibly strained. He was barely holding back. "Get on top," he rasped, his voice thick with the raw, urgent need. I obeyed, rising and moving onto the bed, my robe falling open completely as I straddled his form. His hands immediately found my thighs, sliding up my skin, squeezing as if to memorize every contour. "That's it," he murmured, his eyes, dark and intense, locked on mine. I reached down, aligning myself with him. A sharp, involuntary gasp escaped my lips as I sank onto him. He groaned, his fingers pressing into my hips. "You feel better than I ever imagined." I tried to ignore the betraying warmth that spread through me at his words. This was a business deal, nothing more. But as I began to move, a deep, undeniable pulse of pleasure rippled through my unwilling body. My flesh was a traitor, responding with an eagerness, a craving that horrified me. I bit my lip, struggling to keep my face a mask of neutrality, but inside, a slow, insistent heat coiled and spread with every motion. "Go on, Aurora," he urged, his voice strained. "Ride me as if you mean it." His grip was firm, guiding me. I did as he commanded, my pace quickening, my own breathing becoming shallow and uneven. Each motion sent another wave of illicit sensation through me, making it harder and harder to pretend I wasn't experiencing this. He smirked up at me, as if he could see straight through my act. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" he murmured. "No," I lied, my breath hitching betrayingly as I moved faster. His grip tightened, his body rising to meet mine in a perfect, driving rhythm, the tension between us building, growing deeper, heavier. I clenched my jaw, desperate to hold back any sound that might betray the truth of my body's response. "Keep going," he growled, his own control slipping, his eyes never leaving mine, drinking in every movement, every unspoken reaction. I dug my nails into his chest, holding on as a powerful pleasure built inside me, threatening to spill over. His breath hitched, his body tensing beneath me. And then, with a final, shuddering exhalation, his hands locked me in place as he reached his peak. I followed seconds later, my body trembling from the unexpected intensity. But I swallowed my moans, keeping my expression unreadable as I collapsed onto him, my body still humming with the aftershock. For a moment, we just lay there, our breathing heavy, skin damp and warm. Then slowly I moved off him, sitting at the edge of the bed. I didn't speak, there was nothing to say. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had, against all reason, enjoyed every second of it. And so, clearly had he. I sat at the edge of the bed, pulling my robe around me, though it did little to cover what had already been exposed. My skin still tingled, my breath still unsteady. I felt his eyes on me, watching, waiting. "You surprised me, Aurora." His voice was smooth again, amused. "I didn't expect you to enjoy yourself quite that much." A flicker of heat in my stomach. I ignored it. "It was just a deal," I murmured. He chuckled. "Certainly, if that's what you need to believe." Silence stretched between us. I should have felt consumed by shame, but I didn't. Not entirely. A part of me had undeniably liked it, more than I wanted to admit. "I have another proposition for you," he said then. I glanced at him. "What do you mean?" He leaned against the headboard, his shirt still open, his expression unreadable. "You enjoyed this. I know you did. And there are men, discerning men, who would pay good money for a woman like you." I stiffened. "You're joking." "Not in the slightest." He watched me closely. "You said your options were exhausted. But they don't have to be. You could turn this aptitude into something lucrative." My breath hitched. "That's different." This was just. I stopped, lacking the words. "Just what?" His smirk deepened. "Just a favor? Just for fun?" I turned away, my mind racing. I should have been disgusted. But I wasn't, because he was right. I had enjoyed it. And now the thought of doing it again, of being wanted, of being in control, of making something out of nothing, didn't seem so impossible. "It's your choice, of course," he said, standing up, buttoning his shirt. "You don't have to say yes. But if you do, I know two gentlemen who would pay very well for a night with you." A chill ran through me. Not just one, two. I swallowed hard. It should have been an easy no, but it wasn't. "How much?" His smirk widened. "More than you've made in a single night in your entire life." I exhaled slowly, my pulse hammering in my ears. One night, two men, a choice that could change everything. I lifted my chin and nodded once. "All right." Mr. Thorne grinned, reaching for his phone. "Good girl. I'll make the call." The next evening, I stood in front of the mirror, smoothing a new dress over my hips. It was tight, low-cut, revealing just enough. Mr. Thorne had picked it out himself, along with a pair of heels that made my legs look longer than I remembered. I barely recognized the woman staring back. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted my hair. Why was I nervous? I had already made my choice. There was no turning back now. "You look perfect," Mr. Thorne murmured from the doorway. His eyes roamed over me, slow and approving. "They'll love you." I swallowed hard, exhaling through my nose. "Who are they?" "Friends," he smirked. "Generous ones. You give them a good night, Aurora, and you'll never have to worry about rent again." A knock at the door. My breath caught. They were here. Mr. Thorne's smirk deepened. "Showtime, sweetheart." I turned toward the door, my heart pounding as I reached for the handle. And then I opened it. Two men stood there, eyes dark, expressions unreadable. And they were here for me. I led them into the room, my pulse pounding, each step weighted with anticipation. My heels tapped softly against the floor, the air charged with an unspoken energy. They followed closely, their presence surrounding me, two sets of eyes, two men whose attention was solely on me. I had agreed to this. A part of me, strangely, wanted this. But still, something inside me twisted, a flicker of hesitation, a spark of excitement. The taller one, broad-shouldered, confident, was the first to reach for me. His touch landed at my waist, firm, deliberate, his fingertips pressing lightly, as though committing every curve to memory. The other, leaner, sharper-eyed, quiet but intensely observant, lingered just behind, his breath warm against the back of my shoulder, sending an unexpected ripple down my spine. "Let's take care of this," the first murmured, his fingers brushing over the strap of my dress, teasing at the fabric as he met my gaze. Slowly, layers slipped away, fabric falling with ease. Hands followed, exploring, learning, appreciating as cool air kissed my skin. I reached forward in turn, my fingertips tracing the firm lines beneath their clothes, my touch testing their response. Their eyes never left me, watching, waiting. A slow exhale left my lips. There was no hesitation. I wanted to give them exactly what they were waiting for. I moved with careful intention, fingers working through the closures of their belts, undoing each one at a measured pace, feeling the coiled tension beneath the layers between us. Their breathing deepened, muscles shifting as I explored, warmth radiating against my touch. A quiet sound escaped the first man, a deep note of appreciation, as he tilted my chin upward, meeting my gaze with something unreadable in his expression. "Just like that," he murmured, his voice smooth, edged with something darker. A familiar heat curled through me, something both exhilarating and dangerous in the way they watched me. Knees bent, movements deliberate, I lowered myself, fingers still wrapped around them both, warmth pressing against my skin. One hovered near my lips, a silent invitation, waiting for my decision. I leaned in, welcoming him, tasting the heat, tracing his shape with deliberate care. Above me, he inhaled sharply, fingers weaving through my hair, guiding me with the lightest touch. The second man wasn't forgotten. My other hand worked him with just as much attention, teasing, drawing out each reaction. His breath hitched, his fingers brushing the curve of my jaw as he studied me, absorbed in every moment. Their combined presence, the quiet sounds they made, the tension winding through the space between us, it sent a slow, deep warmth spreading through my stomach. "That's it," one of them murmured, his voice thick, heavy with satisfaction. Just like that. The words sent another rush through me. They let me move at my own pace, letting me explore, letting me lose myself in them. Then, one of them shifted back slightly, clearing his throat as though regaining focus. "Come here," he said, his voice low, steady. "We're just getting started." I settled onto the mattress, my breath uneven, my body thrumming with anticipation. The taller man positioned himself between my legs, his fingertips drawing slow, deliberate circles along my inner thighs, teasing, heightening the tension. The other moved beside me, his hand finding my chin, tilting my face toward him, his gaze locking onto mine with quiet intensity. "Let's see just how sweet you are," the first murmured, his voice deep, laced with amusement. Then he lowered himself, his breath warm against my skin before the first flicker of sensation sent a shudder through me. A sharp gasp caught in my throat as his lips explored me, his touch slow, patient, deliberate. My fingers curled against the sheets, gripping them as each movement sent another ripple of sensation through me. The second man leaned in, his mouth brushing against mine before deepening the kiss, his lips parting against mine. I welcomed him, letting the warmth of him consume me, muffling the sounds escaping my throat as pleasure built between us. They moved in perfect rhythm, one unraveling me with his mouth, the other drawing me deeper into the kiss, his fingers threading through my hair, keeping me close. "She's incredible," one of them murmured, his voice laced with admiration. I should have felt nervous, I should have hesitated, but I didn't. I wanted more, and they could see it. They moved me effortlessly, guiding me, shifting me into position as if they already knew what I needed. Now I was on all fours, my body still trembling, still buzzing from their touch. The second man, the one who had been watching, waiting, patient until now, moved behind me, his hands steady on my waist, grounding me. "You ready for more?" he asked, his voice low, knowing. I barely had time to respond before he pressed forward, a slow, measured pressure that sent a deep, unrelenting warmth spiraling through me. My breath hitched, my fingers tightening against the sheets as my body adjusted to him. He groaned softly, his grip securing me in place, his movements steady, deliberate, as if savoring every moment. The first man moved in front of me, his fingers skimming my jaw, coaxing my gaze upward. "Let me feel you," he murmured. I parted my lips, welcoming him, the heat of him against me, the steady rhythm of his breath mixing with mine. Just like that, he whispered, his thumb brushing along my cheek, his fingers tangling into my hair. They moved together, each guiding me, their rhythms syncing, one keeping my body steady, the other keeping my focus locked on him. A quiet moan escaped my throat, the vibrations making the man in front of me inhale sharply, his fingers flexing against my skin. Behind me, the second man shifted, his pace becoming fluid, drawing another gasp from me as warmth pooled deep within my core. "You love this, don't you?" one of them murmured, his voice teasing, knowing. I whimpered softly, my body betraying me, the truth evident in every movement, every sound. I did. I loved every second of it. They weren't finished. They moved me again, lifting me, shifting me seamlessly into a new position, guiding me exactly where they wanted me. Now I was atop the first man, his hands firm on my hips, grounding me, his gaze met mine, a flicker of satisfaction playing across his lips. "Let me see how much you want this," he murmured, his grip tightening just enough to steady me. A slow breath escaped my lips as I sank onto him, a deep warmth building inside me, the stretch sending another shudder down my spine. His head fell back against the pillows, a quiet groan slipping from his lips as I moved against him. But behind me, the second man wasn't done. I felt his touch first, teasing, testing, his fingers exploring the curve of my back, waiting for my reaction. A sharp breath left me, anticipation curling through my stomach, a flicker of hesitation met with an even deeper sense of want. He leaned forward, his breath hot against my ear. "Take your time," he murmured. "I'll guide you through it." I exhaled, my body tensing, adjusting, a slow gradual acceptance as he pressed forward. The heat between us intensified, the moment stretching, bodies sinking in perfect rhythm. "That's it," one of them groaned, "just like that." I wasn't sure who spoke. I was too lost in it, too overwhelmed by the way they moved with me, their touch, their breath, their bodies keeping pace with mine. They worked in tandem, one steadying my hips, the other pressing closer, their movements precise, controlled. The pressure built slowly, spreading through me in waves, my breath coming faster as the sensation coiled tighter and tighter. "You're incredible," one of them murmured, his voice reverent, filled with something raw. "Look at her," the other whispered, his fingers skimming my spine, making me shudder, completely lost in it. I couldn't hold back anymore. The tension inside me coiled to its peak, a final deep pull that unraveled me completely, warmth crashing through my body in waves. Then, a sharp inhale from beneath me, his fingers pressing into my skin, his body tensing as his rhythm faltered. A low groan behind me, his grip steadying me as he let go, following right after. The moment stretched, breathless and infinite, before fading into warmth. The room settled into silence, the only sound the slowing rise and fall of our breaths. In the quiet aftermath, a new understanding began to dawn. I had never expected to enjoy it, never expected to want more. But life, in its brutal way, had stripped away my pretenses, forcing an awakening I hadn't sought but could no longer deny. It wasn't about being wrong or right, but about confronting the complex, often contradictory, truths within oneself when pushed to the absolute limit. This path was not chosen, but it was mine, and on it, I began to glimpse a strength, a resilience I never knew I possessed.